Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a good holiday. We're back at it. So we're going to finish up, or try to finish this off, or get as far along on this top as we can today. We'll be finishing the two top rails. Michael and I have been discussing whether or not to use wood or use starboard. I guess we'll make that decision here shortly. Starboard has advantages. Wood has its advantages, so we're going to kind of take a look at it and decide, the best way to go. As we've talked before, nothing is straight on the boat, so we have to match up this side. Probably if I get out of the way, you'll be able to see. As you see, this tilts back, etc. So what we've done is put some tape on here so we can line up an edge, because we have to put a face shear on here, and this corner is going to be a little tricky for us, but we'll get it figured out. We've got the hinge, and as you can see, it's just kind of continuation of what I said the last time, that nothing's straight. So what we're going to do is, we're not going to get too carried away. We're going to be doing a lot of measuring, probably a little bit of cardboard design, and make sure that we get everything, hopefully the first time, so we don't trash a bunch of wood like we did the last time.
Alright guys, it's been a long day of woodworking. Me and my dad's favorite activity to do together. This is what we got so far, and it is god-awful. We're just, we're very used to things being straight and stuff, so it's just taking us a little bit of time to figure out what's going on. Just had to open my big mouth and say, hey, let's make this a locker. With wood, if you don't got a straight piece of wood, it's just hard.
Well, good morning. Monday we had been working on this and fabricating it, and it got to be, just wasn't coming together. But we're back at it today, and we've come up with a plan. As I've said before, on the last boat we did and this boat, one of the most difficult things to wrap your mind around is all the angles and the draft angles. And just about every time I think I have it figured out, I get thrown a curveball. So we spent a lot of time this morning getting the rails on. We're going to attach a rail along the back here. There's going to be a rail along the front here, and obviously there's going to be a face shear in here coming across. Here in a little bit we're going to redo some of the work that we've done, partly because I want to put a face cover on the top of this to make it look good, so when you open up the locker it looks really nice. So if you're going to do this, if you're ever going to work on this, and especially on your own boat, what I would suggest is that you spend a lot of time thinking it through. Do a lot of measuring and double checking, because if not, you're going to screw up a lot of wood. I learned my lesson on the last go around, and we've not done it this time because I just refused to kind of go down that road. But I suggest that you get yourself a chair, a cup of coffee, whatever beverage of your choice is, and think it through, plan it, because it will definitely mess with your mind, especially when you get an area like this here. And we worked on this the other day. I must have worked on this for 3 hours the other day, and no matter what way I did it, it just looked like I was just bolting 2x4 sheets or 2x4s on it. It was just not right. So today I feel a lot more comfortable with it, and I think here in a couple of hours when we do the next update, guys are going to be pretty impressed with what you see. I hope so, or else I might retire. But anyway, that's where we're at, and we'll get back to you here in a couple of hours. So we're getting ready to pull our framework you look at what we've done here, we have the back brace in place. This here is to be able to visualize how the corners are going to be. We're going to insert some pieces in here to radius the corners, add strength. There's also going to be a piece on the outside here to 45 it, add strength. This piece here is actually for here, but it's going to screw onto the end. Oops, if I get it around the right way. It's going to screw onto the end. This here is just to brace it. We're about to pull it out so we can do all this end work. And kind of happy, a lot happier how it's kind of come along. Now it's start to visualize. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it real quick, cut the ends off. We have to shift everything in just a little bit to account for the faceplate that's going to be in here, and then we should be able to put it back in place. So keep our fingers crossed. So, all right. So here we have it. This is going to be. It's going to look super good now. Very happy. Took a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of yelling.
Positivities. That's what we yell around here. We just yell, "Good job! You're amazing!
No, we don't.
I'm so glad you're my son!"
Quite honestly, after working on boats with you, I don't know what I ever did to deserve this, quite honestly. But I guess we all have to pay the price. So, it's going to end up with starboard on the top, like so. All the way around. We're going to take a sheet, cut it, and set it on the top. We're going to do some. I don't know if we're going to 3D print these corners or put them out of wood. We're going to put some inserts in here, here, here. This one really doesn't need it, but we're going to put it in there just to so it looks good when you lift up the lid. If you try to do this, just remember that this thing, the sides are like this, and it's also tilted like this, and it's tilted like that, and you can measure it, and it doesn't add up. So the best way we've found to do it, because every time we've tried to measure, so what we ended up doing was cut these two side rails. We already have back rail in place. This is really sturdy for the hinge, but we cut the two side rails, we left them long. Then we figured out this angle part that we needed here. Then we cut the back rail, screwed that in. That didn't quite turn out the way I liked, but it's the way it has to be. And we can, like I said, we're going to put a couple of pieces of wood back here and here to strengthen it, and then obviously radius the corners. Then we had the cheater thing in here to hold it together. I got that idea from watching guys work on cars, old cars where they chop the roofs off. So we screwed a board in here to hold it in place whilst we took it over there, which we probably got hundreds of hours of footage of us cutting that. Yeah, right. And then we shortened it up half an inch, and we attached the front board and then glued it all together. So we put it back in situ right now so it can all bond. But yeah, I think it turned out real good. How do you feel about it?
It's very nice.
So the fiberglass will be in the middle, this will be on the outside, and then we'll have another piece, and we're just going to bolt through, and that will sandwich it together and make it really, really strong. We're going to have to use some kind of bolts, because they're going to be standing on this, and
Jumping up and down.
well, when they catch the big fish,
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
I've seen Clyde move. He's pretty quick.
Well, you know, I haven't met Clyde yet, so but when he catches the big fish, you know, and they're doing all this, what they're doing.
My dad doesn't fish.
it is possible to do this, but take your time and don't call me.
Are we going to be selling these?
No.
So don't ask.
Don't ask. Don't call. Don't text. Don't. I don't want to.
We might sell these. Just a platform.
We ordered a gauge so we can get the radius on the bottom a little bit better. I believe we're going to have to leave some holes down there because the way the boat drains. I mean, this it's going to have some holes in there for the water to get out, because that's just the way it is on this boat. But it is what it is. Well, I don't know what you was doing back there on the sword. Just because you can't measure doesn't mean to say that's my fault.
I can measure it.
All right. Anyway, so enough on this. I bet you guys are going, man, we can't wait to get back into electrical wiring. So I don't do carpet or really get involved in the carpet, but it's important for us to have this prepared correctly for the carpet people, aka my wife. So as you saw from the previous videos, we kind of have the frame straightened out, 3D printed the corner pieces which we're going to be setting in, but today we're going to be working on getting this all cleaned up, radius in the corners, radius in the top, making sure that we're starting to get it ready so that it, as the best we can, matches up to this. You're not going to get it perfect because we're not talking apples with apples, but we're going to do our best disguise to get it to look as good as we can. We're going to be changing out all the carpet. As I've said before, and I know I sound like a broken record, there are undulations in the fiberglass. It's just part of the process. So you got to kind of make a compromise on what you got going on. So even in this process here, there's going to be highs and low spots, but we want to get it as close as we can. So what we checked on this morning is that if all our stuff is correct, right here you see I'm hitting. So by the time the carpet's on, we're fairly flush. Now we're talking two different types of carpet here. This has been here for I don't know how long, but we're doing a discount double check to make sure that our carpet, we're not going to have no big ledge. So as you can see, we don't. Still got to do some sanding. This has all got to be epoxied. It's all, the other side is going to be, it's going to have that white laminated stuff on it. We're still trying to decide on the flip side exactly how we're going to finish that out. There's 2 or 3 schools of thought, but those are the things we're going to be narrowing down today, because it's time to get this thing ready for the carpet people to come in and do the carpet work. But the key is, I guess what I'm trying to say to you this morning is, if you do something like this, don't forget to take into consideration your gaps, for your carpet. Now we do know we're going to have to make some minor adjustments in this direction. We know that, but we don't want to make those adjustments until we get the carpet, start to get the carpet in place, and we may have to take a 1/16 of an inch off skin cut. It might move it forward this way, a 1/16 of an inch, which would mean we have to take a little bit off of this face. But those are all minor things. So when you're planning out your job, make sure it's probably a good idea to get your carpet in before you do it. I'm going to tell you why. So we have 3 batches of carpet. This is the one that Clyde chose, but we obviously have the one from the 363 project. We have one from a previous project, and we also have the samples that came off this boat, and they're all different thicknesses. So it can affect you. Now you say, oh, it's not going to be that much. Well, I'm going to tell you something I learned a long time ago. You're a 30-second here and a 30-second over here, and a 30-second here and a 30-second here and a 30-second here and a 30-second here, all add up. So how do I know this? One time one of our guys cut one of the jobs, 2,000 piece order, just a little bit longer than we usually did. We couldn't figure out why we were about 200 parts short for the contract until we went through and measured them, and if you took that 30-second and added it all together over 1,000 parts, it adds up. So I know I go on about these things, but get your carpet in, make sure you know what your thicknesses are, and then you don't end up with, you know, a problem here, 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 because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you've got 6 corners here, or edges. So when you think about it, if you add or subtract just a little bit, that will add up to be a pretty big number. Okay, so these are just tips that we've kind of learned the hard way, and sorry I can't stay down there any longer, but just take it into consideration, different carpet manufacturers, etc. The other thing is, on your carpet, make sure you don't skimp a little bit, get an extra 2 or 3 feet. So for instance, poor old Clyde's came in, probably the first foot of it is not the best. We won't be using it because it got ragged in shipment. Fortunately, you know, we learned from the 633 project, and we ordered a little extra this time, so that we don't have any problems. Valerie and Michael do a great job on the carpet. They're very, very good at it. They take a lot of time and patience. So, but it's important for me to make sure that we have it as close as we can, so that when they start gluing this up, it's like, oh no, we've got to start scraping it off and recutting stuff. So they'll do a mock-up. This is what we're doing this morning, is double checking all of our spacing. I feel very good about the height. We know we're going to have to adjust in here on this gap. We're still got to put our hinge in and stuff. So 3D printed parts came out very nice. These are going to strengthen the inside corners, and once we get the starboard on the top, you won't see these. It's going to turn out real nice. I think Clyde's going to be real happy. But anyway, that's what we're going to be working on today, and you all have a good day. I don't know how many more updates we're going to do today, but probably continue to keep you updated on this, so it's, if we come up with something, we're going to share it with you.
Well, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please be sure to give us a thumbs up, and we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check back next week where we start to work on this front face of this deck expansion. So, guys, until next time.